we wrap up every week, courtesy of our friends at the DQs of Northwest Edmonton and Sherwood Park, with you. Yeah, that's right, you picking up the conch. These are your hot takes. These are all real emails to talk@ryanjesperson.com. It's the Flamethrower, presented by the DQs of Northwest Edmonton and Sherwood Park. And what about this one from Kenny, who writes in to say, Jespo, I approach political leadership based on actions, character, and outcomes, not slogans, not personal attacks. When it comes to Mark Carney, I have real concerns when somebody avoids hard questions, when somebody's been caught stretching the truth about their background, when somebody carefully limits their public appearances. It's hard for me to trust that they'll be transparent with Canadians once they're in power. It's also concerning when somebody holds personal and corporate interests in sectors that conflict with Canadian priorities, especially while championing policies that would weaken our domestic industries. That's not leadership, that's self-interest. Kenny says, I'm not easily convinced by people who say the right things but consistently act against the interests of everyday Canadians. At the end of the day, leadership's not about how well somebody can make you hate the other side. It's about who actually shows up when it counts. Can you honestly say that Mark Carney has done that? That from Kenny. What about this one from different Ken, who says, good morning, Real Talkers. Pierre may have had more success had he done the hip flip. What a glorious day for Canada and therefore the world. Kenny sent that Tuesday morning right after election results came in. Darian writes in and says, here's to more taxes, more deaths in the opioid crisis, lighter sentences for murderers and violent criminals, bail and parole for the same. Here's to more people living paycheck to paycheck. Here's to more debt, more government scandal, fewer people being able to afford kids or buy a home, more people relying on the government. Here's to less hope. On Election Day, Calgary police shared a drug bust of 1.5 kilos of fentanyl, enough to kill thousands of people. We should have life sentences for these killers. I sure hope there could be an end to the insanity, some peace of mind. People voted based on fear. I voted for hope. That from Darian. What about this from Steve? Steve did not like my interview with Kareem Assad, whose camera person, also her partner, I believe, captured the Brantford Boomer, given the double banger bird. Steve says, Jespo, this interview missed the mark. Karima is not a journalist by any stretch of the imagination. She and her videographer, I think it's her husband, attend political events, not to document them, but with the hope of capturing something that can be used to promote herself or something she can monetize. And your interview focused on the double middle finger that she captured, not the protest. She wants to be the news item. She's a dollar store version of the Rebel Clown Show. That from Steve. What about this one from David, who says, Jespo, I'm writing in from Edmonton, Strathcona. I have no representation in the Alberta legislature right now. Danielle Smith, remember Rachel Notley left, now and then she's going to run there. Danielle Smith could call a by-election tomorrow if she wanted to, but she's got more important things to do. My rights to representation are taking a back seat to the very important work that she's doing to lower the bar for Alberta's chucklefuck brigade to push a separation referendum on us. I have no representation in the legislature, but I got to have a nice chat with a couple of Alberta Republicans that knocked on my door. Talk about alienation. I've been feeling more than a bit of that toward the province I've spent my entire life in. And I'm sure that there's many good folks in the UCP, but as I think about how bold these separatist pricks must be to go door to door in the middle of Edmonton, I've got Yates words churning in the pit of my stomach. The best lack all conviction, while the worst are full of passionate intensity. At least some of them know this is wrong. Why don't they speak up? Why don't more federal Conservative MPs speak up? You'd think the Conservative Party federally, at the very least, would not want this albatross around its neck going into another election, whenever that may be. That from David. And how about this from Jenny, who says, if you are angry that the Conservative Party of Canada lost the election, you and I have a common problem. It's the United Conservative Party in Alberta. The American administration's been following the Alberta government's lead in letting down Albertans and blaming Ottawa. They've appointed unelected officials and removed elected officials. They've attempted to dismantle public institutions like our retirement fund, higher education, public education, and public health. They've circumvented the rule of law. Think coal. Think healthcare procurement. They've eroded transparency in the Alberta Pension Fund, renewables, and coal findings. They've mismanaged our water by building more dams when the world's removing them, and of course, attacking the innocent and those who stand up for them. Jenny says, join me in the Alberta Resistance this Sunday, May the 4th. Be with you from 11 to 1 in Bowness Park near the playground. That's down in Calgary. We'll discuss how recall the UCP is misleading the way. Change is possible now, says Jenny. Join the resistance. I love it. Real talkers from across the political spectrum sounding off, courtesy of the DQs in Palisades, Namao, Newcastle, Westmount, and Baseline Road. The next time you swing by to pick up a flamethrower signature stack burger, you make sure you let them know that Real Talk sent you. Thanks for being a part of the conversation today, friends. Hit like, subscribe, and tell your friends you heard it first on Real Talk.
Oilers!
Go Oilers! Johnny, get some sleep this weekend, and we'll see you with Billy Morin on Monday.